Thank you for being here. Good morning and welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the economic hub of Nigeria, Lagos. I am Henry Igwebike. We start off today with our newspapers, and right after that will be a main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always reach us when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us joining us via Zoom, journalist, public affairs analyst Emeka Amadunago. Good morning, Emeka, and welcome.
Yes, good morning. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so very much for your time. As always, Emeka, I love us to start with the Vanguard newspaper and straight to the talking point here. KWAM 1, Comfort Bob, lawyers, aviation experts blast federal government. Emeka, this is the trendiest news right now in Nigeria, and one would ask, from nuisance value to ambassadorial stakeholders in aviation industry, is this good or bad publicity for the ecosystem?
It's very, thank you. It's not right. I mean, you don't make a mockery of the judicial process. These people were engaged in alleged misdemeanors, and they should have been taken through the legal process. But what happened was that, it was the way they found a way of letting KWAM 1 off the hook. Comfort. That's not. It's just following the pattern of this administration. The other time, Naramali was, NDLA made him an ambassador. I mean, why? Then you just keep looking at the way these things are just thrown up. It shows we're a nation of jokers. We're not saying that people should be tried and thrown into prison at will. What I'm saying is this: let people know that there are certain kinds of conduct that should not, be allowed. That will not be allowed in public at an airport. And now, there was no investigation, as it were. Somebody was arrested on a Sunday, Ms. Bob was arrested on a Sunday, and then arraigned in court on a Monday. Based on what? That the police said they had to do. Did they do the investigation? Such a supersonic speed of investigation and arraignment. Why? Because somebody wanted to prove a point. The same commissioner of police for Lagos State, who was so quick, has he been so swift in dealing with cases involving highly placed Nigerians? The answer is no. The answer is no. Then in Abuja, the commissioner of police, the commissioner of the Airport Police Command suddenly went on leave until a week after the NCAA had sent a petition. And then the police headquarters issued a statement that, okay, the Inspector General of Police had directed the Commissioner of Police for Airport Command. So Nigeria is just a nation of orders. That is why even the media, you see almost every story, orders, president orders, because of the hangover from military rule. You will see the president saying, I have ordered the service chiefs to go after terrorists. You have to be ordered to. I think we need to have a new orientation, because beyond the legal side is also the issue of morality. What kind of things are we teaching our children, up and coming generations? What kind of things? I mean, look at the videos everywhere. You can imagine children who have been exposed to these videos. What impression are we giving them? That adults, are habitually lawless. I mean, these things need to be conducted rightfully and properly. But where and then aviation personnel it is wrong for aviation personnel to bundle somebody out of the aircraft when the aircraft is on the ground. It is wrong. It's aviation security, because you can be sued for invading their privacy. You are touching her, dragging her, and all of that. Now, the lady posted something on Instagram that she's having body pains, that when she's done, she will tell her side of the story. And the emerging accounts show that the lady was aggravated. Yeah, people may call her all kinds of things, her dressing and all of that, but let me tell you, under the Constitution, she has the right to dress the way she likes.
Yep.
As long as it is not offensive.
Yeah.
According to the criminal code. So the airline's official found her sufficiently dressed to have allowed her to board the plane. So now trying to call her names and all of that is unlawful. It's illegal. It's an invasion of her privacy. It was clear that somebody ripped open her blouse from the video. Why? To body shame her, to slut shame her. You see, all of these attitudes, when we do these things to ourselves, we make the world to laugh at us. It was a simple thing. When the lady wanted to disembark, why did that air hostess block the road? And the lady, you see, so we may think, she doesn't know anything and all that, but she was wise enough to have recorded that video that, look, she wants to step out, but the lady was blocking the road. So, at the end of the day, the onus will now be on the airline to prove that that his crew did not aggravate the situation, did not instigate and aggravate the situation. I think airport staff generally should be taught about how to handle conflicts. There are people who are aggravated by flying. Ordinarily flying, it does certain things to their emotions. No, people who, if they are, in a vehicle, they could throw up. They could just ask the driver, please slow down, I want to throw up. It happens to people. Some have to move about with avomine and other drugs that, that can be used to suppress vomiting. These are things we need to consider. And again, considering the girl's age, said to be 23, you should have been more restrained. An adult may have taken it in their stride and just, walked away when the air hostess was said to have flung the phone on the ground, allegedly. But she's a younger person, and maybe her anger management skills, she may not have proper anger management skills. All of these things should be considered. Because, by the way, some older people, if you fling their phone on the ground, honestly, they will lunge at you. They don't mind going to prison, but they will use you as an example, never to try it again. So what we need to do, let us, as much as possible, avoid conflict situations and avoid aggravating, de-escalate the situation. Calm the person down. Don't just there's a video now circulating of how an air hostess handled, a petulant old man, with so much courtesy, decency, patience. Because you don't know where the person is coming from. You don't know the person may be having a bad day. And you just walk right into a storm where you can avoid it. I think we can do better as a nation as a whole. Let's drop this brash, hangover from the military, and let's relate with each other with more decency, more civility, and we'll have a better society. We won't need to start hiding behind the finger, making this one ambassador for airport security, ambassador for good conduct. What is all that? We just make a mockery of ourselves. Thank you.
A big mockery of ourselves. So much lessons to be learned. And while all of this is happening, the international community is definitely watching and, of course, going through their scorecards to see how well Nigeria would do. This would have been an opportunity for Keyamo and every other person in the industry to do the needful. There are lots of pilots that are doing so well. Some cabin crew members and some air hostesses equally doing so well. Those are people that would have invested the opportunity of ambassadors and not people who have been in one very chaotic situation or another. Emeka, let's go to the Daily Trust newspaper. Tinubu on a third visit to Brazil in 9 months. Emeka, what's happening here? The president is making Brazil his home country. It used to be France, now it's becoming Brazil. What's the next country? Your take on this, please. Emeka, are you there? Emeka, can you hear me? All right, I think we're having a little bit of a glitch there. And I was about asking Emeka on what his take is on the president's visit to Brazil. And lots of people would ask, why is Luis Lula da Silva not making visit to Nigeria? Emeka, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
All right, beautiful. Yes, I just asked what you thought about the president's visit.
I'm here. Sorry, I think the network is acting up.
All right, yeah. So I was asking what you thought about the president's visit to Brazil, the third time.
Well, it's also part of what we talk about, the misgovernance of Nigeria. I mean, just flying all over the place when the country needs hands-on leadership. Somebody said he was running away from the trouble at home. I mean, the man actually, to all intents and purposes, is not fit to run the country. It's clear. I mean, also this visit just been arranged to go and touch him up to go and just, I mean, that is not what we need as a country. That's not what we need as a country. Just flying all over the place. He just, when did he just come back? He's off to Brazil, the third time in 2 years. I mean, going to look for what? Let me tell you, you don't need to fly all over the world to look for foreign investors. They are right around us. They are around us, right around us. Let me tell you that foreigners now are setting up businesses that we're still blowing fine English over. Like recycling. Recycling is a big deal. It's big business. Do you know that Chinese and Indians are involved in recycling in Nigeria? Nobody went to call them to come and invest. They came of their own volition. Excuse me. They came of their own volition to come and invest in Nigeria. Invest in recycling. Which day was it one minister was saying, no, that recycling can create jobs and all of that. I was just laughing. Recycling that people are already doing. So he will tell you, I've gone to look for foreign investors. You don't need to make your country okay. If your country is safe, if the economy is being properly run, they are claiming that oil production has gone up to 1.5 million barrels per day. How are you accounting for that? Yes, revenue has increased. But experts have said that oil price will drop below $60 per barrel by the fourth quarter of this year. We're in August. So in other words, we're in the third quarter right now. So the fourth quarter of the year is just after September. I mean, when we cross over September, October, November, December. So how are we preparing for that? How are we preparing for that? So, all of these things, you just jumping all over the place and all of that. Wasting scarce resources that should be put into vital sectors, needy sectors of the economy. No, but that's why people don't take us seriously. That's the truth. Thank you.
Very truthful, Emeka. You can't overstate some of these things because they are very glaring for everyone to see. Nigeria is still devastated economically. We can't even boast of anything. In the 70s, Emeka, you would remember, in the 70s, Nigeria and Brazil used to be at par economically. But what Brazil did right was that they invested in industrialization, mass industrialization. At the time, Nigeria were experiencing oil boom, and we did not do anything to our economy. And today, many decades after, rather having Luis Lula da Silva coming to Nigeria, we have Bola Ahmed Tinubu rushing to the Brazil. Very so unfortunate. Lastly, let's go to another matter. After creating many tertiary institutions, federal government places 7 years a ban. Emeka, speak to me on this, please.
Don't forget, they just licensed like about 5 or 6 fresh universities.
When exactly?
The Minister of Education, private.
Okay.
The Minister of Education said that they had been on the waiting list for some time. The same Minister of Education said that some universities had not had any applicant, nobody applying to them, seeking admission in such universities. But you see some other universities, you see people, candidates being rejected. What it tells us is very simple. We, place too much emphasis on certification or certificates rather than on actual training for life skills. And that is where the problem is. I mean, I suspect that some of these institutions are being used for money laundering. Yes, for criminal activities. And I can prove it because just remember that one university, the federal government took over a university that was set up by a federal government official who was found guilty of corruption. The federal government seized the entire university and turned it to a federal university. So you can imagine that kind of a thing. If one person has been caught, imagine others who have not yet been caught. So that tells you that all of these licenses, everything, has become a part of criminality. Then, a member of the House of Representatives, Aki Alabi, was saying on X yesterday that, it was a welcome development because so many bills before the National Assembly, the two chambers of the National Assembly, were for the establishment of tertiary institutions. Who is going to fund these tertiary institutions? Who will fund? Asking people, are we just deceiving ourselves? That is why they don't want restructuring. That is why they don't want devolution of power to the state. Because even though we are crying, some parts are crying marginalization, but we are enjoying it. Because all of us, you see many of us say, we want to be connected to the center. Federal presence. What is federal presence? What is federal? How many people can the federal government employ? How many? What you need to do is to train Nigerians in life skills and then get them connected to places where they can get jobs in the private sector or even create jobs after mentoring. That's what NYSC should be. NYSC should not just be take people to go and be teaching somewhere. No. Let them be exposed to life skills so that from there they can, for those of them who have the appetite for risk, they can set up businesses and create jobs. There are those who want to. There are those who want to do it. But what do we see? A young man set up business somewhere in Abuja. His factory was demolished. Why? Why? With so many goods lost by people who cannot even run a kiosk. That tells you that there is something about people when they get into the government, there is a kind of evil, a kind of wickedness that seizes them and makes them treat other Nigerians with such condescending disdain. And that is why our economy is this way.
Very so apt.
All this money we are borrowing, we don't need it. We don't need to borrow. We don't need to borrow. So that 30 million people is a big, big market. 230 million people is a huge market. So what are we talking about? Even if we have 1 million companies in Nigeria today, there will still be enough. The sky is big enough for the birds to fly. But you need to put things right. What are we copying? What are we copying, for instance, from Brazil? What do we need so many tertiary institutions for? Some graduates cannot even write a simple sentence. They cannot construct a simple sentence in English. And those are the people you're giving certificates. Some are even medical doctors. And I mean, you can see the results in our falling health standards. But we can do better. We can do better. We can insist on building up the auxiliaries, the emphasizing university education and emphasizing, technical skills. Looking at areas like schools of nursing, schools of health technology, colleges of education, polytechnics, strengthen all those ones here and there so that they can provide the needed manpower across the public and private sectors. But if people just have a university degree without a single life skill, without training in any technical skills, why we make HNDs inferior to degrees, to BSc, BA, BN, and the rest of them, we are hurting ourselves. That's where I stand. So where lawmakers now see, pushing bills for universities to be set up as an achievement, it is not an achievement. It is not an achievement. It's just a shame. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Emeka. We can't overstate, some of these things. In some quarters, some of these institutions are just created for political tools. When the president feels that he is disadvantaged in a particular region, he deliberately creates an institution there just to appease to the people so he can get as many votes as possible. It's so very unfortunate that we don't look into the rubrics and the rudiments of some of these things. Emeka will be here for an arming conversation when we return. Lawyers, experts slam federal government over KWAM 1 ban reduction, comfort bulb release. In a bit, still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere. Let's go. We have 5 minutes.
Hey, my meeting just started. Can you give me a few minutes?
All right, sir. How many minutes?
Can you give me like 30 minutes?
30 minutes. Now when you want to come, sir?
I'll be there before latest 12. I wanted to start coming, but something I had to sort out some things. Then I just realized.